to stream. Okay, cool. All right, so the YouTube's up. If you guys want to if you are on your cell phone, stay on here. If you're on YouTube, just hit the link in the bio and you can check out our YouTube. I'm gonna pull up some windows real quick and go over a few stocks that I saw and the logic behind a few of them for this week. I am thinking about stocks in reference to the vaccine. That's where my head is now. So a lot of the times when we look at stocks and we want to invest like an economist, I'm always saying, okay, the vaccine is getting rolled out, and there are a lot of companies that are producing vaccines and creating vaccines, pharmaceutical companies in different countries. And one thing that we know is that America is having a struggle trying to give us even enough vaccines for the folks in America. So I don't think that they'll be able to produce vaccines for folks in other countries like Canada. Well, maybe Canada, but let's say South America, the Caribbean, maybe parts of Russia, China, India, Europe. Like, these American pharmaceutical companies aren't even able to satisfy us. So what makes me think that they can satisfy a population as populated as India or China, right? So I'm looking at which companies in those countries have shares or are publicly traded that are approved by their governments to issue shares of their vaccine for COVID-19. So I'm going to pull up my screen on the YouTube. If you're not over there, you can just click on the link in my bio. It'll take you to our YouTube page, and just go to the live stream and you'll see it there. Share screen. And the first stock that I'm going to look up, okay, Chrome tab, application window, okay, boom. All right, I hope you guys are following me here. Yahoo Finance. All right, I'm sharing my screen now. Cool. All right, so the first stock that I'm going to pull up, stock that I've been tracking for quite some time, and it is called OCGN. OCGN. That's the company we're going to look up right now. Okay, OCGN. So if you guys are following me, you can go on your Yahoo Finance, pull it up. Okay, so right now they're selling at $10.23 a share. Let me go back 6 months. 6 months ago, they were trading at 46 cents. I'm granted, none of us knew that this would have been a thing. Like, I didn't know about these guys. I have to actually thank my dad for this one. He actually hit me with the logic on this. I was like, that makes sense. So definitely want to thank him for that. The performance outlook for OCGN is short-term, it's a positive, mid-term is a positive, long-term is a positive. This classifies in our market cap of small cap. It is just below 2 billion. It's 1.913 billion in market cap. And like we always do, go to the 6-month chart, see what it's doing. So it's obviously went from a penny stock, 29 cents, up to, it actually went as high as $15, but now it's trading at $10. Okay. So let's go into the profile of OCGN. OCGN is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company focuses on the discovery, development, and commercialization of transformative therapies to cure blindness diseases. The company's pipeline products include OCU200, a novel fusion protein that is in the preclinical development stage for the treatment of wet AMD, diabetic retinopathy, and diabetic macular edema to treat retinitis pigmentosa, a group of rare genetic disorders. Also in the preclinical development stage of a treatment of a dry AMD, OCUGEN has a strategic partnership with CanSino Biologics, Inc. for gene therapy co-development and manufacturing. The Barrett Biotech for the commercialization of the Covaxin in the United States market. The company is headquartered in Malvern, Pennsylvania. Okay, so they are in the vaccine business. Now, if I go to news about OCUGEN, and I'm going to go pull up my apps, my stocks app on Yahoo. On iPhone. So on here, there's an article that's dated February 8th. OCUGEN is an eye drug developer that has no revenue yet and saw its shares skyrocket Monday after a $23 million share offering. In registered direct offering, the Malvern PA company sold 3 million shares at $7.65. The premium is the highest for a secondary equity offering in the US, over the past 12 months, according to Bloomberg. Stock recently traded at 1461. So this thing has been flying off. Ocugen benefited from a COVID vaccine deal it garnered earlier in the month and from manic buying by Reddit followers. In light of those numbers, many investors probably aren't surprised by Cantor registered analysis reported by Bloomberg. She says the surge owes nothing to fundamental news. On the other hand, she has an overweight rating in the stock. While we recognize that institutional investors are paying close attention to COVID-19 vaccines in development, we believe Ocugen is also receiving a significant amount of social media attention, which may also be driving the volatility. So like we were talking about earlier last week, a lot of the Reddit, I don't call them the T word, but these Reddit investors are literally moving stocks left and right. Ocugen is one of them. But the difference is that when these vaccines are being actually approved for different countries for usage in different countries, you're going to now see the development of these vaccines go through and then the distribution of these vaccines. And as that happens, their stock price will climb, right? Like that's just how it's supposed to work. If any country decides to go with a specific, for example, we went with Pfizer, Moderna, and I think Johnson & Johnson's coming out with one very recently. All of these companies that are in these pre-trial developments, they're getting access to funding, right, to produce and distribute these vaccines. Now, we're not the only country with that problem, right? And our population isn't that big compared to other places, even though we have a high volume of folks that are sick. But the vaccine is still its own like industry. It's actually its own industry right now. So one of the things that I like to think about is, okay, well, if these companies are in the business of making vaccines, whether it be for India, for China, for whoever, what is the stock price going to do? Is it going to move with the times? So another company that's in the exact same game is another one, INO, Inovio Pharmaceuticals, same thing. These are all vaccine companies that, again, offered a huge amount of shares because, again, they were building capital, but they're also dosing participants in mid-stage COVID vaccine trials. So like these companies are doing vaccine trials in different countries. It's really important that you start thinking like an economist when we talk about investments. Like it's important to think that way because if you are, you're going to be ahead of the curve when it comes to certain things. Now, that's just one example. I mean, the hack even gave us an example looking at, graphic processing units. Like who would have thought of looking at companies that actually create those as a potential stock? So those are the types of companies that I am very interested in. Another one that came to mind, actually, through my wife, one of my wife's friends, was talking about a Bitcoin reader. And I'm like, why would that serve us? Like, how could that serve us? Think about it this way. As cryptocurrencies become a big deal, right? The machines that we see in stores that can read your credit cards and that can read your debit cards, they're going to need to create machines that can read Bitcoins or Dogecoins or any of the other cryptocurrencies that are going to be coming online over the next 10, 15 years, right? It's always good to see, and we talk about cryptocurrencies on here very little, but looking at a company that actually creates or helps to, move money when it comes to cryptocurrencies amongst vendors from buyers and sellers, that type of company is going to make a killing. There's also another company that I saw that I sent it to one of my buddies. It's an app that allows you to, let me just pull it up for you guys so you guys can see it. Curtin, I'm talking about the one I sent you, buddy. It was a company that went up by 233% one day. And I was like, this is insane. How did that go up so high? And they're basically an app, essentially an app. And that's what I mean. Like, it's so important for you to get access to, that type of information. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it regularly here. Hold on. I should probably go to my Instagram. Kurt, I should probably go to my Instagram and find it from the message I sent you, right? Oh, man. Go to my IG. Yeah, it's not in there. I can't find it because I'm on live right now. Annoyed. Anyhow, the moral of the story is that there are a lot of companies out there that are literally primed for this. It's primed for you to look at stocks in a way where it's like, okay, why am I looking at stocks that are like Apple and American Express versus looking at stocks that are on the up and up, right? So Ocugen, again, another company that's doing clinical trials for COVID-19. Those are the companies that I'm looking at now. So let me go to Yahoo. Now, a good way to scan for companies, and this is something that I do a lot, and it actually works really well for me. You go to Yahoo Finance Home, and on the right side, they usually show you the highest gainers and losers for the day. I do believe it should be right here. So Bitcoin went up 5% today. That was awesome. Most active stock gainers. Do you see this right here? Stock gainers. One way that I kind of look at and I chart different stocks is I look at the stocks gainers and I try to sort it by the most active stock, the most aggressive change percentage. Because that's what I don't care how much the stock costs. I care how much the percentage of how much it went up by. So right now, eHang Holdings Limited went up by 67% today. Quantum Scope. And this is a good way to kind of look at stocks and determine whether or not you actually have a good buy or sell. On the side over here, on the right side, if you're on the StreamYard, you'll see what's going on my screen. On the right side, you can kind of see that it shows us 52-week range, all right? What that basically tells you is how much movement that stock's had over the last 12 months, which is very important. Some stocks have had a gigantic movement, you know, and those are the companies that we want to find. So for example, the #1 company on here right now, EH is a ticker symbol. They had a range move for the last 52 weeks of $7.59 to $129.80. That's a drastic move, right? And right now it's at the top end of that. So it's literally, so it's went up that high and now it's back down to there. So those are the kind of companies that I'm going to do more investigation on and figure out, okay, why is it moving? I think last week someone asked me about Riot Blockchain. So Riot Blockchain Inc. was up 30% today. And the movement that it's had, and this is something that, again, you guys have to really, you know, all investments are investments, right? Riot Blockchain, RIOT, it's had a movement over the last 52 weeks, a range of 51 cents to where it is today, which is it went to a high of $79.49. That is an insane amount of growth. Now, and that was only in the last 52 weeks, that's last year. If you were invested in that, right? And again, this is again another type of crypto. If you're invested in something that goes up by that percentage over time, from 51 cents all the way up to $77, even if you had $100 in there, that's now grown to a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of a killing. So I want you all to start thinking of, when you look at your investments, like cryptocurrencies are coming. And I think next week we're gonna have a whole conversation about cryptocurrency. Like I think I'm going to talk to you all about crypto, why it is a very important currency to own. And I'll just touch on it right now. You know, crypto allows you to have true value when it comes to your actual money because it's peer-to-peer. It's not manipulated by a federal government. It's not manipulated by some sort of, you know, government agency printing off money. Like there's no inflation to it. It literally is the one true currency where, you know, if you have a certain amount of value in that currency, it doesn't fluctuate because someone wants to print money to just try to, you know, see if they can pay off their debts. Like it's not like that. It's peer-to-peer. And there's only a certain finite amount of them. So as more people buy, the value of it will go up because the amount of them that are available keeps shrinking. So it's going to be the wave of the future. And when you have cryptocurrency, your money is actually safer than it would be in the bank because every transaction is literally encrypted, like every transaction. And your balances are not held in the same place. They're all encrypted as well. So like for someone to clear out your account, your crypto account, it's almost impossible because they would have to have so many passwords and codes to do that. It's one of the most secure ways of maintaining funding. And if our economy crashes, let's say the stock market as a whole decides to go kapoots, right? The crypto market will not be affected by that because they're peer-to-peer. Their value matters to them, not to anybody else. So as long as you have 0.007 Bitcoins, that's going to be worth 0.007 Bitcoins to whoever has Bitcoins if you're making a trade or a barter or whatever have you. So it's like their value is going to survive a catastrophe when it comes to actual money, actual cash. And something I learned this past week, if you actually look up corporations, did you know that the USA is a corporation? Do you guys know that? It's actually registered as a corporation. I don't know if you guys knew that. Low power mode. My phone's like dying on me. That's fine. The US is a corporation and it's out of money. It's broke. So for me, what that tells me is this, like, as much as I love Wealth Wednesday and I love talking about stocks and, you know, making sure that you guys don't get all scared and run when the market goes low, like that's an opportunity to buy. We have to start transitioning our conversation from not just stocks and bonds, but to actual assets. because a lot of folks don't even know they're millionaires, and they are. Like if you have a property that's worth 700,000, and you have 250 in your 401k, and you've got 80,000 in your savings, and you've got 50,000 in stocks, and maybe another 100,000 in inherited money from your grandpa, you're a millionaire by assets. You don't have to be a millionaire by stocks. You can be a millionaire by a millionaire. Is just a matter of how much the value of your assets are, right? I feel like it's really important that we start looking at all of our assets and making sure that we're putting ourselves in a position to purchase properties, to purchase land, to purchase, different revenue generating businesses. Even purchasing the ability to have some type of residual income from whatever asset it may be, whether it's an annuity, whatever. We've got to start looking at that as the end all be all for what we're doing with our stocks. Like I want your stocks and your intelligence with RSI and all of these other indicators. I want all of this to lead you to a space where you can then start utilizing the money that you're making in the stock market to buy things that aren't going to fluctuate if the market crashes. That's the next conversation that we have to have, because as much as I love stocks and as much as I love, investing and seeing the deals and going from 51 cents to $20 or to $30 or whatever have you, or the cannabis industry that's going to go off, as much as all that's good, at the end of the day, you have to be able to transition your wealth in more ways than stocks. And stocks are a great way, but it should be the catalyst for everything else. A lot of times when we work hard, and I think as black people or people of color in a country that's built on white supremacy, like we always think that working hard is going to be what gets us the bag at the end of the day, right? And we're taught to work hard. We're taught to work twice as hard as everybody else. But at the end of the day, you can work as hard. I've seen people that have 2, 3, 4 jobs and are still struggling because they never invested. If you had $6,000 in a Roth IRA, and I heard this today on the Breakfast Club. My sister posted this on her IG. $6,000, in a Roth IRA, gifted to your kid, and by the time they're 60, that should be over $1 million if it's grown, properly in the stock market. Just average rate of return of maybe anywhere from 10 to 11%, which isn't average, to be honest. I mean, it's 8 or 9. It's more like it, but they have $1 million just because of that. I feel like working hard is good, but I want you to apply that to actually building wealth in a way that's not just in one form, but in multiple forms. So looking at your portfolio right now, and right now like we've been talking about having winners, picking 3, 4, 5 good stocks and just continue to contribute to them, right? While you're doing that, I want you to start making sure that your credit's on point. I want you to start making sure that your debt and the folks that you owe money to is on point. I want you to make sure that you're saving money on the side as well, because at the end of the day, if the market crashes, which I don't think it will, but if it did, what would you have to fall back on? Right? What would you have to fall back on? Like for some of us, we have properties. For others, you have family lands in different parts of the world. Cool, but what are you going to fall back on? Right? Do you have a plan set up in the event that something happens like that? So for me, it's like, let's make sure that we're educating ourselves on how to grow our own food, educating ourselves on how to source our own food from a healthy place versus getting it from a bodega. And a bodega is like a corner store in the States. For you maybe in Canada don't know what that is. Are we transitioning our family to be self-sufficient? To understand that just because you can buy something outside doesn't mean that you can't make it inside. Like we've got to start building back our skills as a community, as people. And I think understanding the stock market gives us just a leg up where we've never had a leg in the game to begin with. And that's a good start. But it has to transition into other things, other skills, knowing about health, knowing about things like SCC30, which are revolutionary gene therapies that are literally curing all kinds of kidney diseases, curing, all kinds of stuff. There's literal like DNA vitamins that are out there right now that can literally heal anything. Have you heard of them? Probably not. Like that's the kind of stuff that we have to continue to make sure we're striving towards, because it's going to be useful in the future, right? One thing that my wife and I have been looking at is land. And just to give you an example, like there is land in Michigan on the lake for roughly $16,000, and you can get 20 acres of land for 16 grand, right? Think of that as an investment, right? Let's say that you buy that land for $16,000, right? And you just hold on to it, 20 acres, hold on to it. On a lake, hold on to it. Then a developer comes by and says, hey, we're 10 years from now, 20 years from now, someone wants to develop the lake and put maybe some type of canoeing, recreational center on there or whatever. They want to buy from you for $10 million. That's an investment too, right? So for me, that's where we have to start thinking as a community and just, as investors, like everything is an investment. It's an investment of your time, of your energy, of your money, and it's got to work for you. And for me, I'm huge on real estate. Like real estate investing to me is important because it secures the bag. Like even though your stock's going to do well, if you're leveraging it to buy property or leveraging it to buy income generating property, you're now diversifying your portfolio in a way that's going to be recession proof. Like if there's a recession right now and folks, don't have any money to do anything, but they can get government subsidies for rent, well, they can pay you from Section 8. They can pay you from government subsidies. Like there are ways to work around it. People always need a place to live. And with what's coming down the pike with all of these foreclosures going to happen, because again, you're just postponing the inevitable, there's going to be a lot of renters, period. So if you're already positioning yourself to be in the rental game, you're going to be in a very great position. Yeah, Revolutionels, Detroit. Yeah, Detroit is a perfect example. The properties that you can get in Detroit right now are amazing, value-wise. And again, if you live in New York, you live wherever you live, there are a lot of, we don't really understand value. Like I live in Queens and like my property is really, really expensive. Not because it's big, but just because it's in Queens. Just like a lot of folks who live in Brooklyn, like you'll have a brownstone and it's about $1.5, $2 million. And it's just a small little brownstone with 3 floors. Like that's just what New York City generates, right? If I were to sell my house right now, I could go and buy a mansion in Georgia for the price of my house right now. Like that's, sometimes values are crazy. And if you go to Detroit, you can buy 20 mansions. They may not be in good shape, but you can still get them. Because again, the economy down there is dilapidated like wildness. And we have real estate agents on here. Maybe they can speak to that. But I think we are running low on time. So let me ask something. This is why I opt for the underdog, assuming the company itself has a security and stability. Okay. Yeah, Kung Pao, that's exactly right. Always go for the underdog. Because if I can get something 51 cents and it grows to 70 bucks, I'm winning. Let's see, cryptocurrency trading platform. Yeah, the cryptocurrency trading platform. That's the one, babe. Guys, look into that one because that's the next big move. So why do you think government is reluctant to impose crypto? They're not reluctant. They're just trying to own it. So the government's trying to buy into crypto. They're trying to figure out a way to be the distributors of cryptocurrency, but they can't do it because there's no legal way for them to like own it. So that's what their struggle is. Their struggle isn't because they're waiting or dragging their feet. No, they just don't know how to get in a manner that's going to allow them to own enough of them. Like that's what they're trying to do right now, and it's not working. They want to find a way to own it. Detroit does that play us? Okay. All right, that's everybody. Okay, cool. So folks, again, this was a really cool Wealth Wednesday. I wanted to get into a little bit more stuff, but kind of getting into the idea of just what this is. Like, at the end of the day, I want everyone to know, like, the stocks that we're following right now is the cannabis industry. We're following it hard. I believe that this is your time to accumulate shares, literally. So enjoy the fact that the prices aren't going up right now. Enjoy that. Buy as many shares as you can afford, and just wait for the rain to come, because it's going to come. All right. So folks, with that, I'm going to head out and go to our clubhouse room. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them now. Otherwise, we will be in Clubhouse at 9:30. And I think next week we're going to talk crypto, fully cryptocurrency. We'll go into how to get cryptocurrency, what the values are, what the projections are for that, how to evaluate which ones to get, because some of them are a joke, and some of them are actually real. So we'll talk about that too. All right, folks. So thank you so much for joining us. If you missed it, please just go through and listen to what we were doing prior. I'm going to load this up right now. So folks, I'll catch you guys on Clubhouse. All right, take care. All right, IG. IG is out. Share to Instagram, and I'll just put that on. Okay, and next. All right, YouTube. So I'm just posting this right now. I like to just post it because I don't want, any of this stuff to, not save. So I just post it raw without any sort of edits, just put it up there. But for all those who are following it, this is a good way, again, to figure out who's who when it comes to gainers. And I want stocks that are going from 51 cents to 70 bucks. Like that's what I look for. So all of these little companies here that are, trading right now, 16 cents went up today. Okay, cool. I'm gonna see what their chart looks like and literally go one by one, one by one, and check their chart. See if their chart looks like it's something you want to invest in. This one, the chart, 6 months, this looks like crap. So I wouldn't invest in this. You see this? That trade, that looks like that's not linear to me. So I would not keep that. I would not trade that stock at all. let me move to another one so you guys can kind of see my logic here. Because again, it's all about the chart, the way the chart looks. If the chart looks good, then we can rock with it. If the chart looks like crap, don't waste your time. So let's go to the first one. Let's go to EH and see what they're looking like. Okay, so this one looks not bad. Okay, so see, here's the problem. So when I'm on here, it went up to $124, shrunk down to 46 bucks. That is too much of a dip for me. Granted, it could come back up, but that I don't trust that dip at all. I need to know what that was for and why that happened. So this would be a no for me as well. Let's go to another one. And again, just go right down, one at a time. You go down and you check them out. This one looks good. See this? Oh, it had like a blip 6 months ago. Okay. $12, went up as high as 114, dropped back down. And now it's trading sideways. I'm not really happy about this. Short-term bullish, but then long-term is negative. Yeah, we wouldn't go with this one either. So again, looking at the stock chart, you want to see a stock chart that looks like it just trends in a very nice way, right? Look at Tesla's trend. I want you to see what it should look like. Your stock chart should look like this. You see that? Where it just goes like a steady climb up a mountain. Even if it's a little jagged, that's fine. That's what you want to see. If you go back a year, same thing. See that trend, how it just moves and climbs? Go back to 5 years. Again, Tesla wasn't around all the way back then, but trading for $38 up to $798. Okay, this doesn't account for the stock splits. So again, what you want is a company that shows the volume moving in that direction. That's the ideal chart that you want to look at. Okay, let's look at another one. Apple did the same thing. So when you start seeing these charts, you'll know what to look for. Let's go 6 months. It's a little bit more jagged than we'd like, but again, it's still trending up. If I go back a year, again, that's the look. Okay, any growth chart that you have, I want it to look like this. If it looks like this, you're in good shape. All right, because you want to see some sort of steady growth over time. If I go back 5 years, do you see that? See that mountain looking? That's what you want. And that's why I don't care about the stock's current price right now. I don't care. I don't care not because it's not important. I don't care because if this is what the chart's going to look like in 5 years, I don't give a damn what the price is right now. I'm going to make sure that I am buying as many shares as I can at this stage at the, December 2016. I'm going to buy as many of these as I can here. Because by the time it goes from $29 to $130, we're in a whole different conversation. All right, folks. So with that being said, that's kind of the nature of what we're doing, what we're talking about. We're going to be over in Clubhouse now. I'm going to close this one down. But folks, thank you for joining me on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. We're going to add this to our regular saved YouTubes. But yeah, join us on Clubhouse. And then next week, we're going to do all cryptocurrency the whole time and get you guys aware of what's going on with crypto. All right. So folks, appreciate you guys. And we will see you on Wealth Wednesday or in Clubhouse later on tonight. All right. Peace out.